Aê!
Wow, this is amazing. That's the best way to start this Sunday here. Mr. Miller, welcome back, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you here in São Paulo, Brazil.
It's wonderful to be here again.
How do you like the con so far?
Sorry, what you did?
How do you like the con so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
You guys did the panel right now, right?
I'm sorry, we're having trouble with the audio.
You did the panel right now
yeah,
here at the
we
auditorium?
just did a panel out there
How
talking
was
about
that?
our new book.
Yeah, of course, The Golden Child.
Yeah.
Congrats on that for both.
Thanks, man.
We were talking earlier that it all started here in 2015 when you came for the first time to São Paulo, to our Comic-Con. So we were not charging any royalties, but we'd like to know how was the start of this project? How did you guys meet each other, and why? I know that there's a story about a foot. This project started with a right foot. Can you talk about it?
Okay, I can talk about it.
Pode fazer em português direto, se você quiser,
Tá, em
ou se quiser
português.
fazer em inglês, beleza também.
Nós nos conhecemos em 2015 num jantar oferecido pelo Ivan Freitas, que é um dos sócios da Comic Con, né, da CCXP. E a gente acabou se conhecendo, ficamos amigos e acabou surgindo a ideia da gente trabalhar junto. Porque eu fiz um desenho de uma capa para o Dark Knight 3, onde é o Batman apontando, né, para um alvo e a Carrie com estilingue. E eu fiz um redesign, como eu costumo fazer para personagens, assim, eu costumo sempre fazer um redesign. Eu fiz um redesign para Carrie e parece que ele gostou. Seems like you liked the Carrie. E a partir daí ele viu alguma coisa ali e ele me convidou para fazer um projeto juntos, assim. Então foi basicamente isso.
Yeah, yesterday you were telling that he got right the hair and the mask, but one thing in particular was what got your attention, the boots. Yeah. Can you tell what were the details that you saw that made you think to work together?
Well, first off, when I first saw Raf's work, I immediately wanted the chance to work with him because his work is so good, and his vision is so fresh that it was just an opportunity to work with and study an artist as young and vigorous and visionary as this. I've got to confess that when I saw his Carrie Kelly as Robin, I was struck by how he'd done his own changes and improvements on her look. Her hairstyle was much more one that could actually be made than the complete cartoon I'd done. And he tricked out her glasses so that they really looked almost like a schoolgirl's. The shoes, man. Jesus. The shoes. He totally jazzed them up, and they looked. I had done the old slippers that she had from the old days, and he turned them into something that I wanted a pair of those shoes. They're cool looking shoes.
Actually, we have Carrie Kelly right here. Here she is.
Yeah.
When you did her for the first time back in the 80s,
Yeah.
Did you imagine that your story would follow like this, she becoming like the main star of this series?
I always saw Carrie Kelly as being the lead character, because she was the one who we saw Batman through. You know, Batman, unlike other characters I've worked with, like Daredevil, he's a godlike, iconic figure, and we're not really as much on his level, and so I liked her to bear witness and to learn from him, and at the same time, as she has her adventures with Batman, what's inside of her is being released and inspired. And at one point, he comes to realize that she's the only person he's ever met who's smarter than he is, and that she is the future. And while he's doing everything he can to stave off death.
Talking about future, the promotional posters that DC has been releasing, it has a sentence, a slogan, "The future is young." And we can see in the t-shirts here, the future is female. Carrie is the future, and she's female. Yeah. And you draw female characters, strong, Elektra, Martha Washington, Carrie. And I can't believe that DC, how was to convince DC to turn Robin, the Wonder Boy, into a girl? How was that back in the 80s? And do you see that now? That keeps inspiring people and inspiring girls to go to the Artist Alley. We have here 500 artists, and almost half of them are girls now. We're very proud of it.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to coming up with Carrie Kelly, it just seems like the most natural thing in the world. That wonderful costume, and it would be a change. It would just be something that would freshen it up. Throughout my career in superhero comics, I've tried to make them less of a boys' club, and have female characters come in various roles as good guys, as bad guys, as everything. And Robin seemed a real natural. There was another second part of your question.
If that inspires the girls to come and play in this boy area.
That's something you can never predict, you can never count on. But when it happens, it's a deep pleasure. It's really important.
And at the same time, we're seeing the daughter of Superman taking the big stage in the story as well. How do you see the future of the Dark Knight saga with these characters? Do you see them living without your participation, maybe with other artists, other writers? Do you see that happening?
I think right now is a good time to sit down and think about it. The third Dark Knight has opened up a lot of possibilities, but I don't think it's a time for hasty decisions. There's many ideas are flying around, many of them mine, but I don't want anything to come out called Dark Knight that isn't really good, it's anything that comes out not only should be very good, but can't be a repeat. And I don't want anything that goes back on the previous ground. We've got to use what came before as a springboard into something new every time out.
Grampá, a gente viu, we saw, I'm going to do the question in English so he can hear, but we saw on the social media, you posted some arts for the Golden Child, and it's not real your style, the style that we used to know of yours. Why did you decide to change? And how was is it to become closer to the original art?
Em português?
Pode responder em português.
Sim, eu sou um grande fã do Frank Miller. Grande fã, assim como todos os fãs dele, eu sempre quis Quando eu pensei em fazer um trabalho, que eu estava fazendo um trabalho com o Miller, eu pensei, cara, eu preciso, não pode ser o meu traço que eu uso para fazer as minhas coisas, eu preciso fazer com que isso se adapte ao universo e respeitar o legado dessa história que é tão forte, Então, o que eu fiz foi destruir o meu traço e construir ele de novo, com bastante influência no traço do Frank Miller. Eu lembro muito bem de falar isso para ele. Ele falou, não faz isso. Eu gosto do teu desenho como ele é. Eu disse, não, tudo bem.
He's saying that he likes the way he draw. You like the way he draws, and he shouldn't be doing his way,
yeah, when I told you that, yeah, man, I'm like kind of being influenced by your style for this, and you said to me, no, don't do it, be yourself. Yeah. But I didn't listen, and I got very influenced by his work, and I came with something that, yeah, it's me, you know, but for the Dark Knight fans, they will be like happy to see Frank's style in the comic, you know, represented.
How was it to redesign such characters that people always have an opinion on Batman outfit and the way they should dress? How do you do that process? I mean, you think about practical stuff, you think about references from the world. How do you start this process?
I think about the personality, and I think about how this character can move in this outfit.
Do you cosplay?
Almost like that. And also I think a lot about fashion and what this character would like, what kind of music will influence her to or him to use this outfit, you know. I think a lot before drawing, and when I realize that I have something about his personality, I start to redesign.
The first book is about to be released next Wednesday in the US. We know very, very little about the plot. Can you summarize, like, make just the plot so that people can get interested as well, please?
Ta-da!
No.
That's fair.
It's just, why do people want to know a plot to a book they haven't read yet? Why do you buy the book?
Yeah, one of the best experiences that I already have in movies, only for example, were when I didn't know anything about the movie. And that's why we are not trying to spoil anything. What we can say that is, it's a story that we relate with this new voice that is coming from people, and for people are waking, you know, nowadays. We are seeing young people like Greta Thunberg, like teaching the old guys how to you know, like this comic is about a new voice, is a new kind of thinking, and this is why we can say about this project.
This year we got to see a great comic of Superman that you did.
Well, thank you.
How do you compare the legacy of Batman and the legacy of Superman inside of Dark Knight Saga?
When you read them, you take them very, very seriously. When I write them and draw them, I take them very, very seriously. This is all to be taken very seriously. But at the same time, we have to have a sense of play. This is fantasy. This is joy. The Richard Donner and the people who made the first Superman movie did it so well with the slogan, "You'll believe a man can fly." Yes. And so I mean I found that working on Superman, a huge amount of what I wanted to do is just get across what a wonderful idea he was. Just what a cool guy he was, and how magical it was that someone could come from another planet and grow up in farmland and go on to be a world saver. And to me, I turned into a 5-year-old boy working on that book. I just tried to bring that sense of joy and wonder to it.
Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. I hope we can get to have you, sir, back here in São Paulo every year. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Graham
Thank you,
has
guys.
a spare room there.
Thanks.